Let's bring attention to our life once again. Yoga Vasistha gives us an opportunity to have a direct introspection, direct witnessing of the truth, our own truth. Gently become aware of a few things which are relevant in the current life. See, what is our idea of the world? How do you perceive the world around you? Little attention over people, events, and situations, whatever are happening right now in your life. Are there some people who are bothering you? Are there some people who are supporting you? Are there some situations which are pleasant? Are there some situations which are not so pleasant? Let's take the stock of our own life, all the mental stuff, whatever is happening inside. Just be still, yeah, and just see what is happening right now in your life. What is the view of the world from your vantage point? How much you are aware of this world? So many people, such a big creation, so many events. How much all that is in your attention? Not even a sliver of the existence. But just see all that, whatever is in your attention, you are aware of the people, events, situations, objects. Is that somewhere related to your own attention, your own mind, and the tendencies of the mind? Is there anything which is beyond your awareness ever exist? And don't you see the mind and the world changes? Your attention moves to office, the home disappears. Your attention moves to your parents, his spouse disappears that time. Your attention moves to some friend who is nasty, all of a sudden good friends disappear. So how the vision of the world changes as your mind shifts. The modulation in the mind, they shift. Take 30 seconds to become aware of the phenomena. And gently take the attention to the events in your life. Some favorable events, some unfavorable events, some outcomes which were as per your expectations, and become aware of some of the outcomes which were not as per your own expectations. Go for the big things. It could be your education related, it could be health related, it could be relationships related, it could be finances related, but you just go for the landmark event in your life. how you changed the country, how you picked certain job options, how did you choose the person to get married, how did you meet that person. Just become aware of all those events. And take a moment to become aware of how many things were resulted because you truly wanted them to happen. You truly wanted them. You use your grit, your determination, all your energy, skills, and you ensured that they come in your life. You crossed all those challenges and say, come what may, I want it. In my life, I want to achieve in this life. Just become aware of all those things. And now become aware of the events or outcomes which despite of your best effort did not work out. You really wanted something to manifest, to achieve, to happen in your life, and you did every single possible thing, but it did not work out. Again, it could be finances, education, profession, relationship, some desire, could be anything. Just become aware of those landmark events. You did everything, but it did not work out. And let us become aware of the luck, the, the game of chance. How something just got dropped in your lap. Become aware of those happening which just happened without you wanting, you trying, or even without in being in your awareness. They just happened. They could be good. And then become aware of the things which just happened, which were bad. Meeting some accident, some health related issue, meeting someone who cheated. Just become aware of the things which just happened all of a sudden as luck. And one more thing, let us become aware of the tendency of postponing something. Is there something you just didn't feel like doing? It could be one thing, it could be more things. Just become aware of something you just deliberately postponed, you didn't feel like doing. And then what was the outcome in those areas when you deliberately just didn't do it? You felt lazy, you procrastinated, you delayed. What was the outcome? Take a deep breath in and slowly let go. Another deep breath in and gently let go. And taking your own time, slowly and gradually, we may open our eyes. Okay? Stay with whatever you have gone through. And let us begin the session. You can see my screen. Okay. So let's remember Gurudev before we start. today's session. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraya, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Shri Gurave Namaha. Prayer. Om Tat Sat. Yatah Sarvani Bhutani Pratibhanti Sthitani Cha Yatraivopaśmam yanti tasmai satyatmane namaha. Salutation to that reality in which all the elements and all the animate and inanimate beings shine as if they have an independent existence, and in which they exist for a time and into which they merge. ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनः द्रश्यभुः कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मद् तस्मै ज्ञाप्त्यात्मने नमः. Salutation to that consciousness which is the source of the apparently distinct threefold divisions of knower, knowledge, and known. Seer, sight, and seen. Doer, doing, and deed. Sphuranti sikarayasmad anandas asyambare vanahu sarvesam jivanam tasmai brahmanandatmane namaha. Salutation to that bliss absolute, the ocean of bliss, which is the life of all beings, whose happiness and unfoldment is derived from the shower of spray from the ocean of bliss. So today we start with the second chapter. This is about behavior of seeker. The first chapter was about dispassion. Very, very important. Hopefully all of you were able to go through that and reflect on your life. Very, very important. Right? The first chapter, if first chapter is not studied properly, there is no need to read any further because the rest of the knowledge doesn't fructify. Okay, so if you haven't got a chance, it may be depressing. I would request and urge and beg and plead to all of you, please read that. Okay, and the second chapter is on the mumukshatva, the fourth pillar of knowledge, the thrust within the human, the quest of knowing something which is big, which is much bigger than what meets the eye. And it is about the behavior of seeker. It starts with that, and then Mukshatva is like, yeah, you haven't reached there, and it is not the nirvana. It is the eligibility criteria or the phase where the quest is going on. Okay, so it's a long chapter. So we will finish for one portion which is very important today, and then we will deal the remaining in coming days. So there is a story. I think all of us have been on the path for some time, and sometime we get this idea. I get it. You do kriya, you do seva. All of a sudden, you get an understanding, and we feel we get it. But then we go and ask some senior teacher, oh, I'm having this experience. Is it right? And then that teacher validates. Then you are not very happy. Then you decide, oh, go to art silence course teacher. Then you ask, oh, I do this, I feel this. Teacher says, yeah, it makes sense. Then you are not happy. Then you try to find Michael Fishman, the senior most teacher among teachers. Then you go to Michael, and Michael says, yeah, it makes sense. It looks good. And they say, okay, let me go to John Osborne. Then you go to John Osborne. And then you finally catch Gurdev. And then you go to Gurdev and you forget why you were there because you took the prasad laddu and came out of his room, right? So sometimes there are certain realization. We know it is right, but we need a validation. Like many times, even for small desires also it happens. Like you already decided you want to marry someone, Your heart says the bell is ringing very hard, but you want validation, and then you go and catch Gurdev. Gurdev is the right person, and then he says, "Choice is yours, blessing is mine." Right? You just wanted a validation. So this happens in many level of realization. We need a external certification and authentication to even trust our own understanding. So the same thing happened to Lord Rama. He was so established in knowledge and the dispassion. He got the glimpse of the reality, but he was not very sure whether his observation understanding is clear. So he needed a external ISO certification from some authentic source. So this is about that to begin with. So the story of Sukha. So Vishwamitra said that, "O Rama, you are indeed the foremost among the wise, and there is really nothing further for you to know. However, your knowledge needs confirmation, even as the self knowledge of Sukha needs confirmation from Janaka, before Sukha could find the peace that passeth understanding." So, a peace which is beyond understanding, a little bigger than understanding, it needed a confirmation. You meet Gurudev, some people meet Gurudev and then say, "Are you my Guru?" Yeah. So there is a deeper level of understanding, but intellect still needs a validation. So I will not read a lot of this thing. So I will leave it on you to read it. I will just read this thing. So what happens is that Sukha was a born sage. He was the son of Vedavyasa. He got all the knowledge. He wanted confirmation. He asked his dad, Vedavyasa, what is there? Vedavyasa told, yeah, you are right, but he's the dad, so we take our parents for granted. He says that, oh, this I already know. What is new? So then Vedavyasa was an intelligent dad. He said, there is no point in dealing with teenage sons. He sends him to Janaka. Janaka was, he happened to be father-in-law of Lord Rama. So Lord Rama belonged to enlightened family. Like if you get enlightened father-in-law, mother-in-law, your life can be very nice. Okay, so anyway, so that is how Janaka was also an enlightened sage. And Shuka goes and he asks the same thing. Okay, and he also validates that his understanding is correct. So he got three level of authentication: his own understanding, his dad's understanding, and Janka's understanding. Then he was fine. Like three authorities are saying, I'm okay. Now there is a little discussion about knowledge. We will work on that. Listen to that. So this diversity arises on the account of mental modification and will cease when they cease. What is that? How we start perceiving this world. If we were infinite absolute consciousness, how come this like good, bad, ugly started coming? This dual nature of existence start happening, and that is where it starts. That this diversity, it is not one. Diversity means multiplicity and duality arises on account of mental modification and will cease when they cease. Just a simple example from your meditation. When you are not thinking about your parents, they don't exist. You know, that only when your chitta is vibrant with their memories and their thoughts, then only they exist. When you start thinking about work, the household chores do not exist. You start thinking about satsang, work doesn't exist. So only through the vibrations and modulation in the chitta, the picture of the world arises. Okay. There is a more about utpatti or the creation. This is just a teaser for all of us. So just stay here. Okay. So then, like Sukha, Rama too also gained the highest wisdom. The surest sign of a man of the highest wisdom is that he is unattracted by pleasures of the world. For in him, even the subtle tendencies have ceased. So this is the behavior of a enlightened being. So with seeker, you can have some leeway. So if you are not seeing yourself there, everything is attracting you and there are so many tendencies, don't worry. This is about someone who has reached there, right? But let's see that. When these tendencies are strong, there is bondage. When they have ceased, there is liberation. He is truly a liberated sage who by nature is not swayed by sense pleasures, without the motivation of fame or other incentives. This line is very appropriate for art of living teachers. I will just change the true sage to a art of living teacher. Just read it. He or she is truly a art of living teacher who by nature is not swayed by sense pleasures without the motivation of fame or other incentives, like how many students, how many courses, how many personal fans and all. Okay, just a little teaser here. And I pray that sage Vasistha should also instruct Rama that he will be confirmed in his wisdom and we too may be inspired. We'll move a little fast forward, and again I'll request that you read it. Then he talks about, in the story form they talk about the universe, like it here comes the inception and matrix and multi-universe, Spider-Man, all that comes. O Rama, countless have been the universes that have come into being and that have been dissolved. In fact, even the countless universes that exist at this moment are impossible to conceive of. All this can immediately be realized in one's own heart. For these universes are the creations of the desire that arise in the heart, like castles built in the air. The living being conjures up this world in his heart, and while he is living, he strengthens this illusion. When he passes away, he conjures up the world beyond and experiences it. Thus, there arise worlds within worlds, just as there are layers within layers in the plantain stem. Neither the world of matter nor the modes of creations are truly real. Yet the living and dead think and feel they are real. Ignorance of this truth keeps up appearance. So here it starts going into a little deeper into the about the creation. So again, it is a teaser. Let's move forward. Now comes the most important thing, which we will cover today. Okay, in the behavior of a seeker. What is most important here in this section? It talks about self effort. Okay. O Rama, even as whether there are waves or no waves, water remains water. Even so, whatever be the external appearance of the liberated sage, his wisdom remains unchanged. The difference is only in the eye of ignorant spectators. How many times we judge Gurdev also? Hmm? How many times we judge many other people, like the knowledgeable people? And if we see closely, it all reflects upon our mental state. If we are inside the kutir, everything looks so nice. You are outside the kutir, 2 hours you are waiting to get inside. All of a sudden, all the people around, they look like Jay, Vijay, and Ravana and Duryodhana. And you stay a little bit more, you start saying, oh, Gurudev likes some these lectures more. I don't know how come they are there. All of a sudden, we start questioning why these people are around Guruji and why Guruji is allowing. And if you don't meet Guruji for 2 days, then you see all kind of questions start coming, right? You don't register for a course, all of a sudden course fee becomes like horrible. If you register for the course, there is no issue about course fee, right? So just see that it doesn't matter how an enlightened being is behaving, the image is judged by us only. In this world, whatever is gained only by self effort. Where failure is encountered, it is seen that there has been slackness in the effort. This is obvious, but what is called fate is fictitious and is not seen. Very, very important, right? See, many times we blame so many people, like, oh, this is my bad luck, this happened. Oh, my bad luck, this didn't happen. I could have done this, I should have done this, or I deserve this, I don't deserve this. So, this section is all about freeing the mind from those shackles. And it very clearly says that whatever is gained in this world is gained by self effort. We reflected on our own journey. Did you achieve anything without doing self effort? Whatever important things you achieved, you grind your teeth, you used all your grit, and you didn't let it go. And that is how we gained it. So, this is about that. And whenever there was a failure, if we reflect honestly, we might find something that we might not have done 100%, or we could have done a little better. But what is fate? We don't see the fate because there is a component of luck also we see. Right? But where is the luck? Self effort drama is that mental, verbal, and physical action which is in accordance with the instructions of a holy person well versed in the scriptures. It is only by such effort that Indra became king of heaven, that Brahma became the creator, and other deities earned their place. Self effort is of two categories, that of past births and that of this birth. The latter effectively counteracts the former. Fate is none other than self effort of a past incarnation. There is a constant conflict between these two in this incarnation, and that which is more powerful triumphs. I'll let it sink in, right? We have done something in our past and we are doing something in present. And it is a vector sum. Whatever is more powerful, that result will come. Sometimes they are opposing and then it doesn't help. And but whatever is the more powerful action, that yields the result. There are prodigies like 4-year-old child playing the piano. Hmm. And from where they learned, it is the self effort from the past lives. Somebody born into Ambani's family, they didn't make anything like when they were born, but self effort from some past life yielded into good fortune. And it could be reverse also. Self effort which is not in accord with the scriptures is motivated by delusion. This also we need to understand that the nature of self effort which is not guided by discrimination knowledge, that will be motivated by delusion. There are a lot of people who put lot of effort, but those actions are not guided by the wisdom, not guided by the scripture, so they are not very conducive towards the liberation. They yield a different type of result, but that is not the supreme outcome out of those actions and effort, and they are mostly driven by the delusion of ego and desires. When there is abstraction in the fruition of self effort, one should examine it to see if there is such deluded action, and if there is, it should be immediately corrected. There is no power greater than right action in the present. This is very powerful. There is no powerful, there is no power greater than right action in the present. We might have done something wrong this life, past life, but what is most powerful is doing right action in the present moment. We just cannot drop this understanding that the present action is infinitely more powerful than anything else. Hence, one should take recourse to self effort, grinding one's teeth, and one should overcome evil by good and fate by present effort. The lazy man is worse than a donkey. I'm not saying this, it is Vasistha saying. So, anybody don't take it personal, okay? One should never yield to laziness but strive to attain liberation, seeing that life is ebbing away every moment. One should not revel in the filth known as sense pleasures as a worm revels in pus. If this dreadful source of evil named laziness is not found of earth, who will ever be illiterate and poor? It is because laziness is found on earth that people live the life of animals, miserable and poverty stricken. Just see in your own life, the areas where laziness caught you, what was the result? I'll leave it there. Now, certain laws. As is the effort, so is the fruit, O Rama. This is the meaning of self effort, and it is also known as fate, divine. What is called fate or divine will is nothing other than the action or self effort of the past. The present is infinitely more potent than the past. They indeed are fools who are satisfied with the fruits of their past efforts, which they regard as divine will, and do not engage themselves in self effort now. If you see that the present self effort is sometimes thwarted by fate or divine will, you should understand that the present self effort is weak. A weak and dull witted man sees the hand of providence when he is confronted by a strong and powerful adversary and succumbs to him. It's just the glory of the action in the present moment. The wise man should, of course, know what is capable of attainment by self effort and what is not. There is a disclaimer that don't go and start digging Mount Everest, making a goal that I'll move the Mount Everest with my self effort. Right? The wisdom is knowing that what is appropriate application of self effort. Right? So use your discrimination. Sometimes it doesn't worth putting self effort in something. We should know what is right, what is not right, and what is useful, what is not useful. Self effort is very powerful, but choosing the goal appropriately is also very, very, very important. One should free oneself from likes and dislikes and engage oneself in the righteous self effort and reach the supreme truth, knowing that self effort alone is another name of divine will. How many times our likes and dislikes just distract us so badly? Even it goes like we like some people, we don't like some people, and we don't like some people, and then accept people as they are comes into the picture. If it was not so important, Gurudev will not put it there, right? So likes and dislikes are one major obstruction. So we should examine that are we operating, transcending our likes and dislikes, or those are coloring our self effort and actions. We only ridicule the fatalist. That alone is self effort, which springs from right understanding, which manifests in one's heart, which has been exposed to the teaching of the scriptures and conduct of holy ones. I meet a lot of people as part of my teaching life, and everybody feels that they are right. They go and fight with people, and they have disagreement, and they say, I'm a good soul, I'm a good person, I'm right. Yes, but that understanding is that filtered through the eyes of scriptures from the wisdom? If that is not filtered, very likely that self effort is not correct, it is delusional. So that is the connection with we just talked a few minutes earlier. Teachings of the scriptures and the conduct of holy ones. So we have Gurudev as our role model, right? So sometime when we get confused what actions we should do, I think we can see from the eyes of Gurudev. And sometime I ask what Gurudev will do in this situation. Like there are some times where likes and dislikes and tendencies are so strong. Let me go and do this thing. And if I still have a little bit of awareness and my own desires are take a wrong action, but I sometime I ask what Gurudev will do in this situation, and it gives a good guidance. So I'll just suggest that try it sometime. One should, O Rama, one should with a body free from illness and mind free from distress pursue self knowledge so that he is not born again here. Such self effort has a threefold root and therefore threefold fruit. And this is the fruit of right kind of self effort and inner awakening in the intelligence. When we our actions and efforts are guided, there is always an inner awakening. Like this is right, and it brings a understanding, a decision in the mind. When it is guided, you will say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll organize this course. I'll sit in DSN. I'll go for TTC. I will do this project, right? So there is a decision. The willpower comes together, and then It enables us to do actual physical action. Whatever is needed, then necessary things are provided to us, whether it is a skill or stamina or a strength or whatever is needed. So, threefold fruits. Once again, I'll repeat: inner awakening in the intelligence, a decision in the mind, and the physical action. Self effort is based on these three: knowledge of the scripture. This is talking about the appropriate self effort. Okay, get it right. Self effort can be completely delusional also. This is about appropriate self effort for a seeker. Knowledge of the scriptures, instructions of the preceptor, and one's own effort. So we do have very clear instruction, five clear instructions. Opposite values are complementary, right? That is the instruction of the preceptor. Even if you don't get a direct guidance from Gurudev about certain things, I normally go back to those five principles. Is that okay? I'm following one of those, all of those, or not? If I ever have a confusion, if there is some specific thing and you have access to Gurudev, definitely take the instruction from Gurudev. But if not, then there is ample information to see that from Gurudev's eyes and angle. Hence, he who desires salvation should divert the impure mind to the pure endeavor by persistent effort. This is the very essence of all scriptures. And the wise seeker knows the fruit of my endeavors will be commensurated with the intensity of my self effort. The point to be noted by intensity. Gurudev also talks many times, right? The spirituality should not be lukewarm. The lukewarm effort will bring lukewarm outcome. But when there is a intensity, intense action, intense focus, the spiritual growth and awakening becomes like lightning speed. So it is the your outcomes are matched by your intensity. Sometimes we as teachers, we are just announcing the course and hoping the course will fill. Intensity was zero, registration was zero, right? When there is sometime you just decided come what may, 100 people will be sitting and you are eating, breathing, sleeping, dreaming course, and there are 120 people sitting, right? I'm just like using today's art of living examples, yeah, for this thing. So the results are always proportional to the intensity of the self effort, and neither fate nor God can ordain it otherwise. Moving forward, no one has seen such fate or God, but everyone has experienced how an action leads to a result. This is just basically like trivializing the importance given to luck. Don't sit and hope that lotto will happen. It may happen, but don't sit and think that lotto will happen. Nobody has seen that luck factor, but everybody knows the law of action. You do the put the effort, the action, the results will come. Fate or divine dispensation is merely a convention which has come to the regard as truth by being repeatedly declared to be truth. It is further diminishing and demonizing the fate, that don't give too much importance to the fate. It doesn't seem the truth. So many times we have heard, that is how we say, oh, astrology and fate. I'm not saying bad about astrology. Astrology talks about your past self effort. That is the kind of a logbook of your past self effort, right? But just putting too much importance on fate is not recommended. Moving forward a little bit, I think if you're reading from the book, my apologies, I'm just jumping. But I feel that fate is nothing but the culmination of one's own action. Now it is giving a definition of what is fate. It is saying it is sum total of what you have done in the past. So it is nothing but the culmination of one's own action. In the mind of man are numerous latent tendencies, and these tendencies give rise to various actions: physical, verbal, and mental. Now, it is the science of what kind of action happen through us, arise through us, right? It depends upon the kind of impressions or tendencies we have. People who drink by evening, their default action is go to the bar. Hmm. People who do kriya or meditation in the evening, by default they end up doing this thing. So repeated action leave the tendencies. And those tendencies yield to either physical, verbal, or mental actions. So just see in your life, like if you are drinking tea every morning, by default, you are kind of programmed. You don't have a free will. There, it will take you, those tendencies will take you to those kind of programmed actions. And surely, one's actions are in strict accordance with these tendencies. It cannot be otherwise. Someone who doesn't drink coffee, very rare chance that they will decide to drink coffee, because there is no impression or tendency for or affinity for the coffee. It is all about the tendencies. Our lives are usually driven through the lens of tendencies. Action is non-different from most potent among latent tendencies. This is again a biggest secret. Whatever is the most potent tendency in anybody's mind at a given instance, that defines the kind of actions will happen through them. And these tendencies are non-different from the mind, and the man is non-different from the mind. So it is giving kind of a formula of freedom and bondage. The type of tendencies we have, they reflect in our verbal, mental, and physical action, and they define the event and the outcome and experiences of the life. So I will strongly encourage that just reflect that if you are seeing patterns in your life, are they defined by certain tendencies? If Monday morning blues are there, don't you like your work? Is if you don't like certain kind of people, is there is some kind of tendency of avoiding certain kind of behavior? You like certain kind of food, is there certain tendency for getting attracted towards those food, etc.? Just see how your life patterns are defined by tendencies. The tendencies brought forward from past incarnations are of two kinds, pure and impure. The pure ones lead you towards liberation, and impure ones invite trouble. You are indeed consciousness itself, not the inert physical matter. I think this is the most amazing thing. You are consciousness itself, not inert matter. You are not impelled to action by anything other than yourself. Hence, you are free to strengthen the pure latent tendencies in preference to the impure one. So, we are not slave of our tendencies. If we wish, we can change the course of action. And I believe all of us have seen a change of a course of our life and action, right? Just because once Kriya came, the awareness came, and it gave us, whether we knew it or not, it gives us the ability to change the course of events, life, and direction of things. The impure one has to be abandoned gradually and the mind turned away from them little by little, lest there should be violent reaction. So don't decide to like start doing 4 hours of sadhana and all that thing. Little bit gradual. Otherwise, these tendencies can be violent. By encouraging the good tendencies to act repeatedly, strengthen them. The important thing is repeatedly. The more and more we repeat, they become strengthened. Whatever we repeat more, that tendency becomes strong, whether it is good or bad. Doing Kriya regularly strengthen good tendency. Meditation, good tendency. Okay. Service, good tendency. Same thing is otherwise also. So whatever we repeat more often, that becomes strong. You decide. The impure one will weaken by disuse. So whatever you use, that becomes strong. Whatever you disuse, that get weakened. You will soon become absorbed in the expression of good tendencies in good actions. When thus you have overcome the force of evil tendencies, then you will have to abandon even the good one. You will then experience the supreme truth with the intelligence that arises from good tendencies. So gradually, daily meditation, daily seva, sadhana, satsang, very important. Eventually, it gives the rise to right kind of intelligence, discernment, and then the glimpses of supreme truth or experience of supreme truth happens, right? Gradually. So then it talks about faith. By self effort, therefore, restrain the senses and mind, and with a mind that is one pointed, calmly listen to what I am going to say. This narrative deals with liberation. Listening to it with other wise seekers who are assembled here, you will realize that supreme being where there is no sorrow or distraction. This was revealed to me by Creator Brahma himself in the previous age. This is a promise of this scripture. If you listen in a satsang, in a group together, it will give the desired result, freedom from the bondage, freedom from the repetitive patterns, and awakening. And I will stop here. We will read more next week. Yeah? So close your eyes. Let's spend a few minutes on contemplating power of self-effort in your life. How much self-effort you are putting, what kind of self-effort you are putting, where you are putting your self-effort. Do you lament any situation in your life which is beyond your control? Do you blame the fate, God, Guru, higher power for putting you there, thinking that was none of your doing? Is there anything in your life which you think you cannot achieve through self effort? And at the same time, being wise enough to choose what is right thing to make a goal for using self effort. And become aware of the tendencies. What are the tendencies you have? Some good tendencies, some not so good tendencies. Is there any tendency which is really helping you? And is there any tendency which is enslaving you, making you weaker, handicapping you? And just know the self effort done in the present moment is infinite time more powerful than all your fate, all the things which are done in all your past lives. And also know that there is a constant conflict between our past actions and the present action. But present action is supreme. And one last thing, how do you choose your self effort, the quality and the direction of the self effort? Guided through scriptures, guided through the guidance of your preceptor. In our life, we are very lucky to have Gurudev, and very direct instructions have come in our life to live and conduct our life. So I'll leave you for 1 minute to think and contemplate